Well, Governor Nyesom Wike has denied taking any legal action to challenge the outcome of the People's Democratic Party presidential primary. The governor cleared the air about the rumor during the inauguration of the newly built house and quarters for the State House of Assembly in Port Harcourt. Senior correspondent Uche Okoro has the details.
It's the fifth consecutive day of events that have seen top political figures from across the country visit Rivers State for the inauguration and flag-off of projects. Governor Nyesom Wike is hosting the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Femi Gbajabiamila. The Speaker's job is to inaugurate this 16-block of 4-bedroom detached duplexes built by the Governor Wike administration for members of the state legislature.
Let the word hear.
But Governor Wike took some time to talk politics, focusing on the crisis brewing in his party, the PDP. He attributed rumors of suing the PDP presidential candidate ATIKU as the work of mischief makers.
The legal advisor of the party called me and told me he knows that there's a mischief going on. That he knows me very well. If I'm going to court, it's not those kind of lawyers I would have used. And I don't even know the lawyers. But I want to tell the candidate, it is the candidate group that are doing all these things, thinking that they will spoil my name.
The last has certainly not been heard from the governor of Rivers State about the storm that is currently rocking the boat of his political party.
I wish them good luck. But after my commission of project, nobody should say Wike has started. Though. Because when I start, I've been on my own. They are looking for trouble.
I believe that when the governor finally chokes them, the members of the State Assembly will be coming with him to where he is destined to be. We await you, Your Excellency, and very eagerly too.
This facility will provide accommodation for the 32 members of the Rivers State House of Assembly, the first of its kind since 1979. Uche Okoro, TVC News, Port Harcourt.
Joining me in the studio for more discussion on this is marketing, communication and strategist Omolara Taiwo. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you for having me, Jacinta.
All right. Now, Wike has actually distanced himself from this alleged suit against ATIKU. Well, who do you think is behind this?
Yeah, so this is politics, and of course, you know, there are like a lot of banters and happenings are bound to happen. And of course, because the politicians will always be politicians, you don't expect someone to do something of such and come out to say, oh, I did it. That is not to say that I do not believe that Governor Wike did not sue or was the one that sued. But body language speaks a lot. Ever since the outcome of the primaries, of the PDP primaries, a lot has been ongoing, and his silence is actually loud. So I do not blame people who believe he did that, though he came out to say he did not, that he did not sue, which is good for the party.
Yeah, we all saw how this presidential party went down. Do you think there is any case to be built against this?
Well, Governor Wike himself said that he is not a baby politician, because apparently there's no case. Because politics is about building alliances. You have to build alliance, and then you have to be strategic. What happened during the PDP primaries was strictly strategy. It's not about making noise. It's not about being all out there and, you know. But then the candidates, the person who emerged as a candidate, Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, and Tambuwa, of course, he stepped down for him and he emerged as the candidate. So I believe it's just strategy at work, strategy and alliance. So I think that would be funny for anyone to think there's a case to build. Of course, it was heard. Everybody saw how the counting went down. It wasn't even a case of, oh, my votes were counted for my opponent or something fishy happened. No. So I don't believe there's a case.
All right. So Wike as well earlier said that he's going to give his full support to whoever wins. Do you think ATIKU still stand a chance for his support? or still count on his support?
Well, for me, I believe it is in Wike's interest to support Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, so he would emerge. And the reason is that, where would he run to? Same APC has been bashing for over 7 years, or the other third force that emerged, that people actually believe that he chased the guy out of the party. For me, I believe it's a case of selling yourself and trying to make yourself the vocal point of rallying. Now, even he's shouting for its southern turn, it's the southerners' turn and every of that, was it actually because he wanted a southeasterner to become the president, or because he is a southerner and he believes it is his turn, just as some others also believe? So, sincerely, it is in his best interest to support Atiku, so he emerged. Because, of course, by May 2023, that's the end of his tenure. Like, he stopped being a governor, and whatever immunity thinks he is enjoying now will not be there any longer. So where would he run to?
Do you also think there is any implication for this back and forth within the party ahead of or during the election 2023?
Yes, there is an implication, because a divided house cannot win a battle. So if the PDP would win this election, it is in their best interest to come together as a force and win. Then after winning the battle, they can continue the fight. And then I would also like to say that the party, as we know it, People's Democratic Party, is bigger than one individual. And the truth is, if you decide to stay away from the election and they eventually win, it will always be hard for you to come back. To be fair to Governor Wike, he held the party down 2015 till date and every of that. He did a lot of things. Amazing guy. But the person that eventually emerged as the party candidate is also one of the founding fathers of the party. Yes, he left on 2 occasions, but something warranted that, like issues warranted him to leave, and eventually he came back. Now, the person who he chose as his vice president is not someone who had even left the party. In fact, we can say that Governor Okowa and Governor Nyesom Wike are on the same pedestal as far as PDP is concerned. Okowa never left the party, 2015 till now. He also was one of those that were funding the party. The fact that Governor Okowa is not someone who shouts or always in your face does not mean he was not working. So, as much right as Governor Nyesom Wike had to be a VP candidate, so do Okowa. And it is not like an outsider was brought to become the VP candidate. So I don't think every of this is actually necessary. The best is for them to come together as a house and win.
All right. Thank you very much for your contribution so far. Welcome back at It's Still Newsweek, where we discuss the biggest stories that made the headlines in the week. Now, the Nigerian Defense Headquarters says it has arrested 2 more SWAP terrorists linked to the attack on the St. Francis Catholic Church in Owo, Ondo State. The latest development now is that the security forces are on the trial of other suspects involved in the deadly attack. And with the new arrest, the number of those in custody has risen to 6. Stephen reports.
No one saw it coming. On a subject the Chief of Defense Staff at earlier events declined talking about. But this time, General Loki IRABOR came clean about the attackers of the St. Francis Catholic Church Owo on those dates.
It was my intention to present them to the public, but of course, because of certain investigations were still carried out, I had to, on the last count, change my mind, and otherwise I would have brought them here for you to see them.
This is the first time the military authorities will disclose the arrest of the suspects.
On the 1st of August 2022, again, the military, they combined operations with the DSS, arrested 4 terrorists at ATIKU in the Kedi local government area of Kogi State.
A similar claim was made by the Ondo State commander of the vigilante group Amotekun barely 2 weeks after the incident of June the 5th, but no detail was provided. The disclosure by the Chief of Defense Staff opens another vista to the investigation if the attack was likely sponsored. Sifon Asien, TVC News, Abuja.
Joining me now for more insight on this is TVC News correspondent in Ondo State, Ayo Muradeo. Thank you for joining me.
Good to be here today.
All right. So, with the arrest of the suspects that attacked St. Francis Catholic Church, Owo, what do you think will be the mood of the families of the victims?
Well, let me quickly tell you that the mood, that some of them will be happy that those who carried out the dastardly acts have been arrested. But this will not bring back to the victims who lost their lives in the incident. As you all know, 41 persons died in the accident, while 76 persons were seriously injured. As I'm talking to you, 6 of them are still receiving treatment at the Federal Medical Center Owo. One of them is a nurse who lost her 2 legs in the incident. We also have a 10-year-old girl who could not sit for common entrance because he was shot twice on her leg. And today, she's still in the hospital. A bullet is still inside one of her legs, and this has not been removed for now. So it's mixed feelings. Some will be happy that at the end of the day, those who carried out that act will be punished. But for some, this will never bring back their loved ones who died in the incident. And I can also tell you that this will continue to haunt many because it was a bad day. June 5 will go down in history in Ondo State because it was the day they came and attacked a church where people were worshiping. People who thought they are safe in the church were killed, 41 of them, and 76 injured.
All right, what can you also say about the responses from Owo, where the attack took place?
Well, the people are happy that at least some of those who carried out the dastardly acts have been arrested. But the truth of the matter is that after the incident, many did not go to church again because they find it difficult to cope with the situation because they wondered what would have happened that some people would just went to a church and killed several people. So they keep wondering. But for now, things are moving. People have started going to church. But the situation is that they want government to provide adequate security as they are also providing security in their churches. I can tell you that some churches have engaged local vigilantes to guide them during church service. And also let me tell you that people want to know the motive behind this attack, because why would some people go and attack a church when they are holding service was on? So we want to know who carried out this dastardly act and why this was done. So this is a puzzle that must be unraveled. They want to know why the attack took place in Owo. And a particular.
All right, thank you, Ayo. Thank you for your contribution. Thank you. Let me come to you now. What do you make of this arrest?
Yeah, the arrest is a good one. And like Ayo said, it brings a sense of closure to the family, that at least something is being done. And then we hope, because of course there's already an identity mismatch even in the arrest. So we hope the security forces will do their job better, and we sincerely hope that justice will take its course as well.
All right, thank you very much. President Muhammad Buhari has assured relatives of the Kaduna train attack victims that the government would do its best to secure the release of the remaining abductees. President Buhari told representatives of the families that several actions have been taken by his government to bring support to the affected families and to prevent a reoccurrence in the country. He also explained his reason for discarding the use of lethal military force in extracting the remaining abductees.
I have been informed that at last count, there remain about 31 people in the hands of the kidnappers. And our determination is to work towards returning these 31 people to their families. It is understandable that emotions typically run high. We have received several suggestions about the employment of lethal military force in extracting those still being held in captivity. My primary concern is to get everyone released safe and unhurt. Notwithstanding, I have since directed the service chiefs and their colleagues in the intelligence arms of our law enforcement agencies that seeing an end to this inhumane action is their topmost priority. And judging by the available reports to me and news that have begun emerging in the last few days, I will say they have heard this instruction and are responding appropriately.
Well, joining me via Zoom to analyze this issue is public affairs expert ATIKU today. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much, Jacinta.
Right. So, report has it that the release of the 7 victims was due to the efforts of Kaduna-based Islamic cleric Sheikh Gumi and a senator from the north. How would you describe their intervention?
Well, this will not be the first time that they will be intervening. Of course, he has been making statements about his, and that is talking about the Sheikh Gumi. He has been making statements in the past about his various interventions with the terrorists. And we have seen pictures of him, posing for photographs with the terrorists, maybe in the course of the negotiations. And so it is one of such negotiations that have led to the release of these people. I'm not sure, I don't know whether the president is claiming that the government did anything in that direction, because the government absolutely did nothing. And he has made assurances to the kidnapped victims that were released. I'm not sure, of course, they will respect the office of the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. But I don't know whether they will believe the president that the president is doing enough to release or secure the release of the remaining people. Obviously, the issue of insecurity continues to be an existential problem, threat to all of us. It has grown in leaps and bounds since for the past 7 years that the president has been in charge. And so it's not just about releasing the victims of the train attack, the kidnapped victims of the train attack, but it is also about ensuring that these things do not happen again. The only reason why we seem to be the issue of the kidnapped train victims are in the media is because of the novelty of the attack, is because of the number of prominent people that were involved in the, that were kidnapped. Because there are so many in many parts of this country, kidnappers are in the bushes with their kidnapped victims, Nigerians. Especially in the north. So there are so many parts of the places in the north where these kidnappers are also with their victims. And so nobody seems to be talking about those people except the kidnapped train victims. So nobody is more important than others. Like I said, it is because of the novelty of the attack and then the fact that these are very prominent, Nigerians, some of them. And so that's why people are talking about it. But I think it's really unfortunate that we find ourselves in this situation. The president has given reasons, but I think these reasons are excuses, because we've had instances where, we've had either planes are hijacked in different parts of the world, or people are being held prisoner in, against their will by terrorists in Russia, in America, and many other parts of the world. And we have seen how their security forces trained to respond in this manner, to rescue such people, actually did something, and they rescued these people with very minimal casualties. When this kind of thing happens, you cannot rule out casualties, but because they are experts, because they are trained in this, in most cases, you find that the cost is actually very minimal in most cases. So,
okay, my second question would be, what can you suggest the government do at this stage to end this pain being afflicted on the abductees?
Well, I don't know what the government can do. I think the negotiation should continue so that the remaining people can also be released. it is these negotiations that have led to their release. And don't also forget that monies, they are not just being released because the kidnappers have suddenly repented from their dastardly acts. They are released because they are being given money. These people are held for ransom, and they are being released because huge sums of money are being given to them. And these are monies that they also recycle and they use to buy more arms and become much more dangerous. So it's I think what the government should do is go after these people, but the government obviously seems to lack capacity. The government seems to be afraid of these people. If we listen to what the presidential spokesman, Gbajabiamila, will say, that they had an exchange, an agreement with the terrorists, and the president showed surprise that terrorists did not abide by the agreement. They did their own part by freeing the wife of the terrorist leader, and the children. And then after that, they were expecting that the terrorists would be honorable enough to do their own part.
All right, Atike, we don't have much time, but let me quickly ask you this last question. How can we prevent future terrorist attack on luxury buses and trains?
I don't think we can prevent it. I don't believe in missing words or playing, politics with things like this. It's a very serious issue. Until the government goes against these kidnappers, until the government goes against their finances and their backers, there are people that have been arrested and the government has told us that they are going to be tried. Nothing has happened in that direction. Until the government can give us, really convince us that many members of the government at the very highest level in this country are not involved one way or the other, in an unwholesome manner with some of the kidnappings and the terrorist activities that are going on, then that is the only way a lot of Nigerians will rest assured that their government is for them. Right now, too many Nigerians are suspicious of the government, and they believe that the government knows more than they're telling us. So the government needs to do more. Go after the kidnappers, go after their source of funds, and make sure that you squeeze them tight and that they don't have access to funds. Once they do not have access to funding, then they will automatically, they can actually be wiped out much more easily because they are now in a less position to actually carry out the activities that they are carrying out. The government is not doing that, but I think that is what the government should be doing. But as for whether they can prevent all the attacks that are going on, for as long as these terrorists are where they are right now, which is operating a position of strength, they will continue to do what they are doing unchecked, unless the government is more proactive.
All right. Thank you very much, Atike, for coming on the show.
Thank you very much.